All right, so today I'm here to talk to you about the top 5 neighborhoods to live in Punta Gorda, Florida. Yes, this is probably going to be a bit controversial among the locals, and that is okay with me. If you're a local and watching this, please feel free to share your take. Tell me if you agree or disagree in the comments, and help me educate the newcomers to the area on what you think the best neighborhoods are. Not only am I going to tell you which neighborhoods I think are the best, but also why I think they're the best as we go through them so that hopefully it can give you some insight into if a specific neighborhood would be a good fit for you or not. And keep in mind, these are the best of the hundreds of neighborhoods in Punta Gorda. So if you have one that you're already considering or have questions about something that I didn't cover here, somewhere that I didn't cover here, please reach out. We can talk about your specific situation and help make sure that we find the best fit for you. So number one, and these are in no particular order, it's just how I threw them together, but the number one spot, or the first spot that I want to talk about, is downtown Punta Gorda. The thing I love about downtown Punta Gorda is that it is one of the few historic small town waterfront communities left in the area. Many of the waterfront communities in Southwest Florida, like Sarasota and Naples, while they have historic aspects to them, they used to be small towns. They don't feel so small anymore. Even Fort Myers has a number of newer high-rise condo buildings that have taken the place of historic homes and buildings over the years as the towns have grown into cities. But Punta Gorda so far has managed to keep that small town feel alive. Though after the most recent hurricane that hit Southwest Florida, there was some significant flooding and storm damage in the downtown area that did cause some of the homes to need to be removed and new elevated homes built in their places. Even those, they've done a great job of trying to incorporate the historic neighborhood aesthetics into the new homes when they build them. So it also incorporates the waterfront with the original historic commercial district, as well as a number of different historic residential sections. Basically, as the downtown neighborhood grew and expanded, they've got separate little districts for each area and each kind of generation of homes that were built there. And so they've done a great job of maintaining that historic nature. And it is also one of the few neighborhoods in Southwest Florida that is super walkable. Now, I know when we start to talk about walkability, sometimes people get concerned that it's going to make it super difficult for those of you that want to drive into downtown Punta Gorda. You don't have to worry about that. They've done a great job of maintaining both the walkability while also being friendly to cars. Punta Gorda is one of the few downtown areas where they continue to maintain free parking throughout the area. Both the street parking and the parking deck are free. And there are a ton of great shops and restaurants, with the majority of them being along Marion Avenue. However, don't skip the streets splitting off of Marion, as you never know what kind of awesome new spot you might find. Then along the waterfront, you have the Tiki Bar, which is always an awesome good time. And from there, you can, walking if you want to, you can make your way past Charlotte Harbor Event Center. So there is a event center there where they hold different big, large conferences along every once in a while. And so you go past the event center to Gilchrist Park or the Military Heritage Museum. And then if you want to, on down to Fisherman's Village. It's about 1.25 miles from the Tiki Bar to Fisherman's Village. So not a bad walk, especially all pretty much along the waterfront right there. And in terms of pricing in the area, condos right now range from as low as $119,000 up to $815,000. The 119 is a 600 square foot, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, so definitely on the smaller side. And the one at 815 is overlooking the harbor, 2,200 square foot, 3 bed, 2.5 bath. And then there are also lots of single family homes in the downtown Punta Gorda area. Also starting off surprisingly inexpensively compared to many of the other areas. You can get in as low as $195 for an 840 square foot, 2 bedroom, 2 bath. It was built in the 50s, but it has been fully updated already. So that's not bad for a fully updated home. Yes, it's on the smaller side, but to be able to get in the door at 195 in a location like that's pretty awesome. All the way up to this incredible 3,900 square foot pool home overlooking the harbor that is priced at just over $1.5 million. Next, and we can't talk about best places to live in Punta Gorda without talking about Punta Gorda Isles, or PGI as many call it. So PGI was started in the 50s as a deed-restricted boating and golfing community with over 65 miles of very wide canals where pretty much all of the homes back up to Gulf access canals, except for the ones that back up to the golf course. So the beauty is no back-to-back homes. They really did a great job of designing it and thinking everything through and making this an amazing boating community. So if you are a boater, this could really be your spot. And if you happen to be a boater and a golfer, it's probably your jam. Few of the really great things about PGI that you're really not going to find hardly anywhere else. Number one, the seawalls are maintained by the city. Yes, you heard that right. Seawalls are maintained by the city. You don't have to worry about replacing them or repairing them. So the seawall behind your home that you own, and as a buyer, you don't have to worry about what condition it's in because repair and replacement is budgeted into the city budget. So when it needs to be done, they take care of it because you're paying for it in your property taxes. It's the way everything was set up. So nice for everyone living in PGI. Number two, St. Andrews, the golf course in St. Andrews South, the golf course in PGI, might be the least expensive private golf club in the world. I don't know for sure if that's true, but it's definitely the least expensive one that I have found here in Southwest Florida. The downside to that is there may be a waiting list to join. PGI is also right next to the downtown area, so it's a quick ride to all the things to do that we just talked about in the downtown Punta Gorda area. Most of the homes in PGI are single family, though there are a few condos and villas currently selling for between $319 and $3.2 million. Next, we're going to move all the way over to the east side of Punta Gorda, jump all the way across town and talk about Deep Creek. So Deep Creek is another deed-restricted neighborhood that isn't gated, and it really doesn't feel like a gated or deed-restricted community like many of the other deed-restricted communities do, even if they aren't gated. Many people don't realize it is Punta Gorda because it is north of the Peace River, and like I said, much more inland, much further east than much of the area that many people think of as Punta Gorda, but it is. And it is just east of I-75, so makes it very convenient in terms of access to many other places. So a lot of working people and families in Deep Creek, because it's such easy access to both into Punta Gorda and also north and south. So if you're working in Fort Myers or Naples and living in Punta Gorda, or working up in Venice or Sarasota or anything like that, you got great access right off of 75 there. It's another well-designed neighborhood, actually developed by the same group that it technically is still part of PGI, although not connected in any way. It's just another area that the same group developed, so it does have the PGI reference, as do many of the neighborhoods actually that we're talking about today. The same group did a lot of development in Punta Gorda. And so the way they set this one up as making it a much more affordable area, not geared towards boating and all of that, basically it's pretty much 100% single family homes. And it was set up so that every home site backs up to either a green belt, a freshwater canal or lake, or to the golf course. There is another golf course in Deep Creek. So everything backs up to something else. So there's, again, not really back-to-back homes. Now, across the green belt, and it's a small green belt, but across the green belt, there will be other homes. Across the ponds, there will be other homes, the canals and all that. But the good news is you have a little bit of extra separation back there, so they don't feel like they're on top of each other when you're sitting in your backyard by your pool. Fees are extremely low at only $150 a year or less, depending on which section you're in. And with that being $150 a year or less, you are responsible for maintaining your own property. So you're responsible for mowing and all of that. Most of the homes in here are newer, having been built in the 80s up to current time frame. There's still a ton of vacant lots available. So if you are really looking for a new home, so there's a lot of existing homes. It's a big neighborhood. There's a lot of existing homes if you want something right away. But if you're also looking at potentially building, there's a ton of lots. We can help you pick out a good lot and connect you with a builder and help you build a brand new home there if you want to. It is about 15 to 20 minutes from downtown Punta Gorda or the Punta Gorda Airport. It's less than that from the Port Charlotte Town Center for another option for shopping and dining. And there's also a Walmart just outside of Deep Creek and a Publix just on the other side of 75. So you've still got easy access, even though it's further out east, you've still got access to all of the typical shopping and dining stuff not too far away. And homes in Deep Creek currently selling between $220 and $710. So it does make it one of the more affordable neighborhoods in Punta Gorda as well, especially considering a lot of the homes are newer, which also helps with keeping your homeowner's insurance costs low also. Okay, so we just passed the halfway point of our list of the top 5 neighborhoods to live in Punta Gorda. Make sure you stick around for all of them to see if we talk about the one you're most interested in. And if we don't, let us know so we can make a future video about the one that you're looking at. And I decided along the way here to throw in an honorable mention as well because it is super popular, but honestly, I feel like it really needs a whole video all to itself. So next up, we have Burnt Store Lakes. Burnt Store Lakes is located, you guessed it, off of Burnt Store Road, which is a major northwest road through the western end of Punta Gorda and connects to the west side of Cape Coral as well, which is just, Cape Coral is just south of Punta Gorda. The Burnt Store area is a newer corridor with multiple neighborhoods that each have their own characteristics that really make them unique and have the ability to cater to just about anyone. So there's a lot of different opportunities, a lot of different neighborhoods in this Burnt Store area here. I picked Burnt Store Lakes for a few reasons. So like I said, all of these neighborhoods for the most part are newer. So because it's newer, again, the homes are newer, most being built in the early to mid 2000s and a ton more recent 2014 and newer builds as well, which is really helpful in terms of keeping your insurance costs down. Some of the things that made me choose Burnt Store Lakes over the other Burnt Store neighborhoods is that while it is a deed restricted community, the fees are extremely low and most of the homes have a really great water view that so many people really want when they're looking to move down here. And this is one of the few communities that does allow you to also use the lakes within the community. So yes, you can boat. Well, you can canoe or kayak in those lakes here in Burnt Store Lakes, which is extremely rare to find in any of the deed restricted communities here in Southwest Florida. So that's a cool little feature. It is another PGI developed neighborhood. So still has the PGI designation. Like I said, this one's a little bit different in now you've got PGI that everybody knows of, which is all Gulf access canals. Then we've talked about Deep Creek, which is another one they developed back to back with green belts, lakes and canals that you can't really use. Now you got Burnt Store Lakes, which is one that is usable. The waterways are usable, but you don't have access to the Gulf. So freshwater lakes and canals. While this area is relatively new, there is a ton of commercial development happening all along Burnt Store. That's been happening for a while now. So many of the concerns about being in an area that is newly developed is those things have already been addressed. So there's grocery stores, you've got a Publix there, restaurants, and even Burnt Store Road has been widened recently, which at least parts of it are, which already set up to accommodate for the growth that's coming, which is really nice. Usually infrastructure is 10 to 15 or even 20 years behind the growth. But in this particular area, they've done a pretty good job of getting out in front of the growth. So it's nice to see. As far as current pricing goes in Burnt Store Lakes, Mostly single family homes, which currently range between 280,000 and the most expensive right now is $1,125,000. And there are a few condos in there, not very many, but they run between 275 and 460. Most of them are bigger condos. They're like 4 to 8 units in a building, typically only 1 or 2 story condo buildings. So low-rise buildings, and so a little bit more square footage and that sort of thing. So in that 275 to 460 range, they're nice, pretty nice condos. So next and last, besides our honorable mention that we're going to get to here in a minute, we have Heritage Landing. It's a brand new, within the last couple of years, they started building and developing it. Heritage Landing is a fantastic country club community. It is also along the Burnt Store corridor. It is just north of Burnt Store Lakes. And the reason I chose Heritage Landing is because it might be the best true country club in Punta Gorda. Can't think of any other country clubs that I feel are better than Heritage Landing in Punta Gorda. I say this because while PGI and Deep Creek both have golf courses, they aren't really country club communities in that the country club isn't the main focus of either community. The golf courses, they're golf courses. They do have restaurant, pro shop, all that stuff, but they're not the focus of the neighborhood or the community like Heritage Landing is. So PGI is a boating community first and foremost, and Deep Creek is geared, like we said before, more as an affordable neighborhood that happens to have a golf course as well, and neither of those requires any kind of club membership, where Heritage Landing is a true country club with all of the amenities that are expected of modern country clubs. And everyone that lives in the neighborhood is a member of the club in some way, shape, or form. It is what is referred to as a bundled membership community, which means that, like I said, everyone is a member automatically when you buy a home there. However, in order to make the club both affordable and sustainable, there are significantly more homes than the golf course itself can support. So there are some homes that come bundled with a full golf membership, and then the majority of the homes actually come bundled with a social membership. So you are guaranteed club membership just by buying a home in Heritage Landing. It's just a matter of whether you want to be a golfer and have that full golf membership, or if you prefer just the social membership with that country club lifestyle. So the beauty of this setup, just kind of talked about, is if you are someone who wants a country club membership because you want the club lifestyle, or maybe you're a tennis or pickleball player, but you really don't golf, or at least don't golf enough to make a full golf membership make sense, you don't have to worry about it here. You just buy one of the social membership homes, and you have full access to everything except golf. And even during the off season, you can still golf a bit. So it's kind of nice that you have that access and can get in there without having to have the golf membership. And but if you are a golfer, you buy a home with full golf membership. And the nice thing is, with bundled golf, the fees are much lower than what is typical with true private country club memberships. So the amenities that I was talking about that you get here in Heritage Landing include state-of-the-art clubhouse. It was just finished not that long ago, like within the last year or so. Incredible fitness center, movement studio. They've got a spa on site, outdoor bar and grill, so restaurant and bar. You've got a golf pro shop, as well as the golf practice facilities, so putting green, chipping range, and driving range, all of the above. 18-hole Gordon Lewis designed course, beautiful resort-style pool with one of those walk-in beach entries, and it does also have lap lanes that are kind of separated off the side. And then there's, like I said, if you're a tennis or pickleball player, there's 5 lighted tennis courts and 6 lighted pickleball courts, so you can play even at night. And in terms of homes, there's a wide variety to choose from. There are 3 different styles of condos. Pricing currently ranges from between $275 and $585. There are a few townhouses, because although I know I said this was a new community, technically they started it back in like 2007, I think it was, right before the big market crash in Southwest Florida. And they got a few townhomes built in there. Very few of them. It was originally a country club community set up under a different name, but the golf course never got completed. None of that stuff happened, and it went defunct, and it's been completely revamped and redesigned. And so, but there are a few homes that were built back then, or even partially built back then, that Lennar is the builder in Heritage Landing. They went in and they owned those, the ones that were finished, and finished out the ones that were partially built. So they're selling in the like right around 500 range. I think there's one that sold for 520, and there's another one listed for 490 right now. And then two different styles of single family homes. Those are going to run between 420 up to 925. And that price range is either you can choose either new or existing homes. There are people that have lived in there for a few years and bought a couple years ago and are now moving for whatever reason. So there are some existing homes that you can purchase, as well as we can help you get a brand new one if you want to pick out all your selections that Lennar has to offer. They do not do a ton of customization. So that's something, but being that it's a country club community, those prices are much lower than you would find in comparable country club communities where they do have a ton of selections and that sort of thing. So if you want to get into that, let me know. Happy to help there as well. Super familiar and have sold a ton of new homes over the years. It's one of my specialties, being that I first started my real estate career in new home construction and sales. And last but not least, the honorable mention, Babcock Ranch. It is only honorable mention because I feel like it needs an entire video all on its own, maybe even a series of videos to cover everything that it has there. And actually, we have covered a ton of Babcock Ranch. On our other channel, the Niesman Team, we've done a ton of model home tours of the different model homes in many of the different communities and neighborhoods within Babcock Ranch. So at this point, I'll just briefly talk about it, give you a little insight, and like I said, we will do another video, full video later, specifically on Babcock Ranch. But briefly, Babcock, still only a few years old. It's becoming a city all of its own, partially in Charlotte County, and by address, still considered a part of Punta Gorda. So I felt I should mention it because some people may already have heard about it. But it is much further east than the majority of what most people consider Punta Gorda, and likely will someday in the not too distant future get its own post office and therefore become its own address. And those people will be living in Babcock Ranch instead of Punta Gorda. So for those that have heard about it, know it's in Punta Gorda, don't think I'm sleeping on it. I'm just considering it more of its own thing. And we will have a full video on it coming out soon. So like I said, in the meantime, if you want more info on Babcock now, check out our other channel, the Niesman Team, and check out those model home tours and videos on the different communities there. So mostly we did model home tours on that channel, but we do have some info on the different neighborhoods as well within Babcock. And so check them out. Let us know if you have any questions. And then make sure you like and subscribe here and click the bell, because that is how you get set up to get notifications when our future videos drop. Thanks for watching.